What's up, guys? Artem MMA Analysis here. Going to be talking about Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, which has just been officially announced for August the 6th. And to be honest with you guys, I'm actually quite excited to see the fight. I'm sorry it's going to be quite a quiet recording because it is 2 a.m. in the morning and the news just released. So I thought, you know what, I better just quickly get a video out as I haven't made a video today. So let's just talk about an announcement here. Jake Paul has signed to fight Tommy Fury, and I think it's a pretty awesome fight. I actually do think it is an interesting matchup. As someone that doesn't follow boxing much at all, I will admit I'm not really a guy that is following boxing. I think it's a matchup that I'm going to tune into. You know, I feel like a lot of casual boxing fans, or a lot of casual MMA fans that may not necessarily like Jake Paul will want to tune in to watch the fight. But what really interests me is I wonder how many pay-per-views that this fight is going to sell, because Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley too, I don't believe that sold too many pay-per-views, and even then when Tommy Fury was fighting on the undercard of the Tyson Fury fight, there was like no one in the crowd. No one was in the crowd to watch Tommy Fury, so Tommy Fury himself isn't necessarily a pay-per-view draw, he's just got the name behind him, but I think this is going to be a big fight. You know, Tyson Fury is going to be talking about it. Jake Paul and Logan Paul are going to be talking about it on their podcast, and just stuff like that. Like, a lot of people are going to be start talking about this. Joe Rogan's probably going to chip in. Dana White's going to chip in. Like, there's going to be a lot of big names and a lot of big people making talks about this, and I feel like it will sell a decent amount of pay-per-views, more pay-per-views than Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley too, more pay-per-views than Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley as well, I would say. So I think it's going to be really interesting. You know, Jake Paul and his brother are probably going to be talking to Tommy Fury and Tyson Fury in the press conference, and it's going to be absolute madness. But as for the matchup, you know, I feel like it's an interesting one. I think Jake Paul is going to have to win by knockout. I don't know what the terms are, because I feel like the terms, if it was a longer fight, would benefit Tommy Fury. You know, like more rounds, because I feel like Jake Paul, probably with that power and the muscle that he's holding, would tend to slow down towards the end. So maybe a longer fight would tend to favor Tommy Fury, and I feel like that's probably what they're going to try and do. I think Tommy Fury, I believe all of the marbles have been in the Tommy Fury side, because Jake Paul's been wanting this fight. He's paying Tommy Fury a lot of money. He's really investing in his brand. I think that's what people need to understand about Jake Paul is he's building himself as a brand and a boxer. So I think a win over Tommy Fury would be awesome for his brand, and then what he's gonna do, or even if he loses, he'll pay someone like Nate Diaz to build his brand as a boxer, to build his brand as a fighter, someone that people want to watch. But the thing is, there's so much on the line here. You know, if Jake Paul loses, I don't think people are really going to want to pay too much attention to him, you know. And if Tommy Fury loses, that's pretty major as well, because I know records seem to be a really important thing in boxing. Like, Tommy Fury's been building up his record against not so high level competition. Jake Paul has been building up his record against basketball players. He's been building that brand, you know. He's been fighting UFC fighters, former UFC fighters, and building a brand as a boxer. And an undefeated boxer at that, people want to see him lose. People are paying to watch Jake Paul potentially lose. And if we've already seen him lose, that mystique is gone. You know what I mean? And even if Tommy Fury loses to Jake Paul, then if he becomes a world champion in the boxing and becomes a big name in boxing, then he's always going to have that first loss to Jake Paul. So I feel like there's so much on the line in this fight, and I really can't wait to watch it. I feel like that's probably all I'm going to really talk about in the video. I don't want to keep it too long. I don't want to ramble, because I don't really know what I'm talking about. But that's kind of what I'm trying to get at there. And also, I know that Tommy Fury has made Jake Paul get drug tested or something for that fight. So whereas Tommy Fury said that he agreed to drug testing when he realized the fight was at risk. So I think this is called VADA, is the drug testing that they're going to be doing. But I don't really know where it is. I think it's called VADA drug testing, which is what VADA drug testing. There you go. So anyway, so there's going to be drug testing for the fight as well. So that's something that Tommy Fury probably wanted. And then again, I feel like maybe Tommy Fury's going to get the benefit on maybe selecting how many rounds the fight is going to be. Amanda Serrano will be fighting. I know she's a pretty good boxer as well, but I feel like the guys that are making the sales for the card is Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. If there's a cool undercard, I'm 110% probably going to watch the whole thing. I'll probably watch the main card and the prelims, or however boxing cards work. But I want to watch this fight. I really do. Like, I honestly do want to watch this fight. So I'm really looking forward to it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.